In May of 2015, Josh Brown, a kicker for the New York Giants, was arrested for fourth-degree abuse, domestic violence to his then-wife Molly. However, the charges were eventually dropped. Part of the NFL, they gave Josh a $72,000 fine and suspended him from the opening game of the 2016 season. However, on October 20th, 2016, newly released police documents showed that Josh Brown had admitted to a history of abuse against his wife through letters, his journal, and emails for quite some time, verbally, mentally, and physically. In a letter Brown wrote to a friend in 2014, he said, "Because I never handled these underlying issues, I became an abuser and hurt Molly physically, emotionally, and verbally. I viewed myself as God, basically, and she was my slave." As the news broke to the public, the NFL had one thing on their mind: protect their image. On October 21st, 2016, one day after the police documents were made public, Brown was placed on the commissioner's exempt list, which allowed for a paid leave and removal from the Giants roster, but he would still be making his $1.15 million this season while sitting on the bench. The New York Giants signed Brown to a $4 million two-year contract earlier this year, despite the arrest in May of 2015. The team officials have stood by him until now. As a backlash from the public, the Giants made the decision to remove Josh from his contract even though they had stuck by him, because now their public image is at risk. NFL issued a statement on October 25th saying that as a free agent, Brown may enter into a player contract with a new team, but upon doing so, he will revert to the commissioner's exempt list pending resolution of the review of this matter under the personal conduct policy. What? What's the point of the policy then? The manager of the New York Giants also released the statement, "We have great respect and feel strongly about our support for the good people who work tirelessly and unconditionally to aid the victims of domestic violence and who bring awareness to the issue." He also added, "We have been partners with My Sister's Place, a domestic violence shelter and advocate based in Westchester, New York, for nearly 20 years. The leadership of that organization has provided invaluable insight as we have considered our decisions in the matter. We value and respect their opinion, and we look forward to continuing to work with them in the future." So let's just take it back for a moment. What's the problem? The problem is the NFL and domestic violence. In 2014, Ray Rice, who played for the Baltimore Ravens, punched his then-fiancée, now wife, in an elevator, leaving her unconscious. This began a very controversial situation for the NFL. When the news first broke out that Rice was involved in domestic violence claim, the NFL fined him $529,000 and suspended him for only 2 games. Not long after, video surveillance surfaced of Ray punching the woman in the elevator, information the NFL had access to but refused to investigate. Ray was indefinitely terminated from his contract and football altogether. Now the real question is, if there had not been a video shown to the public, would they have terminated his career? Now, due to the outcry of the public, the NFL implemented a new policy. The NFL personal conduct policy was updated to say that the first offense will subject a baseline of 6 games, dependent on multiple mitigating factors, and a second offense would result in a permanent banishment from the NFL. Clearly, even with Josh Brown admitting to abusing his wife, the NFL did not follow this policy. 1 game, $72,000 fine. Where was this policy? Did Goodall implement the policy primarily for public relations issues? Since Rice, Ray McDonald, Adrian Peterson, Greg Hardy, and many others, including Josh Brown, no one was issued a standard 6-game suspension. If the NFL has yet to change the team's attitudes towards domestic violence and the treatment of women, it's because the league's actions in the wake of the Rice case were never meant to have effect. NFL is a business. Take a look here. A player can get a 4-game suspension and $1 million fine for taking off their helmet after a touchdown. But an individual who abuses a significant other only gets 1 game and a $72,000 fine. How is this okay? The NFL is more concerned about athletes abusing substances, celebrating a touchdown, than an individual committing domestic violence. The NFL are only concerned about domestic violence claims when the public sees proof of the actions these athletes make. Until then, the NFL basically slaps the player on the wrist. Even with the new policy implemented in 2014, Josh Brown was not suspended for 6 games before the public was made aware that he admitted his abuse, nor was he suspended 6 games after the news of the public records came out that he admitted to the abuse. In order to see a change within the NFL, they need to follow their policies and not be hypocritical. Not only did the public see the poor judgment of the NFL and the New York Giants, so did other football players. Torrey Smith, who is a wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers, tweeted on October 21, 2016, all of his anger. "Celebrating a touchdown will get you fined, but being an abuser can keep the checks coming in. Me tweeting that could get me fined, but if I slapped my wife and no one saw it on camera, I would be straight, shake my head. Gotta start taking the things that are more important serious, and be consistent with the investigation and punishment. It's disrespectful to the good men in the league that handle themselves the right way. You get punished for having fun, but Josh Brown can get paid?" As a person who witnessed domestic violence growing up, I don't understand how a man can do it. I may think his actions are a joke, but the guy needs help. I hope he gets all the help he needs while cashing checks every week. No system is perfect, but ours clearly needs some changes, just like our country does. With all that said, I'm also a believer in not throwing people away. Dude needs to get help, and men need to do more to change things. The NFL is a business and holds a lot of power. As a corporation, they make millions of dollars every season through corporate nationalism. The National Football League is also a valuable cultural commodity which attracts large crowds and devoted fans. The NFL does not want to tarnish their reputation when domestic violence claims arise. However, the message they send their fan base about the consequences of domestic violence are alarming. Representation is important to the NFL. If the media did not get a hold of the video of Ray Rice in the elevator, or the police records of Josh Brown admitting he abused his wife, the public would not see it and therefore it can be ignored.
Operator 901, where's the emergency?
127 Brynmere.
Okay, what's going on there?
I'd like to order a pizza for delivery.
Ma'am, you've reached 911. This is an emergency line.
Large with half pepperoni, half mushroom.
You know you've called 911. This is an emergency line.
How long it'll be?
Okay, ma'am, is everything okay over there? Do you have an emergency or not?
Yes.
And you're unable to talk because...
Right.
Is there someone in the room with you? Just say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like I have an officer about a mile from your location. Are there any weapons in your house?
No.
Can you stay on the phone with me?
No. See you soon. Thank you.
How an event is represented is the way in which meaning is socially constructed and produced, and therefore ultimately, how power is created. Representations tend to reduce and naturalize existing relations of power. The NFL changed their policy in 2014 in order to look better to the public. But did they have any intentions of actually following policy change? Is this a form of hegemonic masculinity and power? Until owners of teams, athletes, and fans challenge the behavior of the NFL to follow their policies on domestic violence, maybe then football players and athletes will think twice before the possibility of losing their career for punching their fiancée or calling her a slave. The message to the public is you should be like them, or you need to be like them. The NFL does not care about this image until there is a chance it could compromise their business. When this happens, they take action. The NFL does not want justice for the individual who was abused or have appropriate consequences for the athlete, but only to gain power and make money. When the fans are happy, the NFL is happy. What messages are they sending to the people who look up to them? Is the NFL trying to continue to disempower populations, such as the individuals abused? They only care when society outcries and challenges their power.